everybody? Brawlstein here, Betting Public Sports Show. Today's Christmas Eve, December 24th, 2023. I don't have any action today, all right? But I will have action for you tomorrow, okay? I will have some action for you tomorrow. Maybe on Tuesday as well, but definitely tomorrow, okay? And if not, we'll be back Thursday. But, yeah, but make sure you like and subscribe to this channel, all right? Share the channel, leave comments, all right? Because, I'm going to talk a little shit today. I ain't talking some shit in a while. I'm going to talk a little shit today. Some light shit, but nonetheless, I'm going to talk a little shit. And shit I'm going to talk about, I just been catching up on some old YouTube stuff and a couple things. First off, I want to say this before I get into the real thing. I grew up in the, born in the 70s, grew up in the 80s. Okay. So that class of rapper, where you had to be real lyrical, that's what I fuck with. By the way, don't forget, you know what it is, Ohio State, Merry Christmas. You see the drip. But, those guys, you get KRS-Ones, your Rakims, your G-Raps, your Big Daddy Kanes, LL Cool J, Scarface, Ice Cube, those guys who were real lyrical with it. And then, you go on, you got your Nas's, your Biggies, Prodigy from Mobb Deep, who else was there? Then coming after them was the Locks, Jadakiss, Styles and Chic. There was Cameron and Fabulous, Mace. These guys were real lyrical. And that New York sound, I just now realized, maybe it's just me. Because I grew up with that, like I said, other than all those guys are New York rappers except for Face and Cube. And it just dawned on me that those New York rapper, that New York rap sound where these guys were lyrical with the pen and all that kind of stuff, it ain't coming back. It ain't coming back. Not because the corporations, the record labels don't want to hear it or whatnot. Those guys ain't hungry no more. And they've all moved out of New York, most of them, if not all of them. Jay lives out in California. I'm sure, I'm sure they all got homes and property in New York. Probably about the house that they grew up in or whatever. But for the most part, they've all left. I think 50 Cent doesn't live there anymore. Big Daddy Kane been lived in North Carolina. I was told KRS-One lives out in Los Angeles. Cam's down in Miami. I think Jadakiss mainly is in Atlanta, but like I said, he still got ties to New York and goes and visits and whatnot. But I don't think that's his prime residence. Maybe Styles and Chic. I haven't heard much of them moving out, but yeah, a lot of these guys have moved out of New York, and they just that hunger that they was rapping with when they first came out, it ain't there no more. They're all millionaires, living well, like George and Wheezy. They don't live. Trust me, they ain't training it up no more. They live in if they still live in New York, they live in a deluxe apartment in the sky. You understand me? Like Jay, like he was talking about that Dumbo down under Manhattan bypass or something like that. Yeah, if these guys live in New York City or trust me, they're not in the boroughs like they used to be in the hoods and riding trains and all that kind of stuff. They got, most of them got $50,000 cars or better, $60,000, $100,000 cars or better. And, they're just not riding like that anymore. They don't move like that anymore. They got a different motion. It's evolution, if you will, the evolution of their lives. and whatnot. But yeah, that sound will never come back. I literally just thought about that like a couple of days ago. It's like, wow, man. Fat Joe doesn't live in the Bronx anymore. He's down in Miami. Mace is in Atlanta. I think Cam's in Miami. Just so many guys that they've all left. LL's in LA. They're just not around anymore like that. And so they don't pick up that energy no more. It was just a different type of energy and wit in New York at the time. But that's that. We can talk about that more some other day. But speaking of rappers, I do want to talk about this. It's a little bit, last couple, a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, the great, uh, the great Dr. Umar Johnson was on the. Pardon me, I forgot to turn my phone off. Get notifications there. Hold on, let me. At any rate, the great Umar Johnson was there. Was on the Art of Dialogue. If you don't know the Art of Dialogue show, it's a show. I fuck with him, obviously. He's just does interviews. He does a lot of Biggie and Bad Boy, Tupac stuff. Does a lot of interviews from that era. Picks up a celebrity or somebody. Not as many celebrities as say a Vlad, but he does pick up people who are in like the news, especially like he has a lot of like Gene Deal, Diddy's bodyguard, Puff Daddy's bodyguard. Um, Trying to think somebody else who I've seen on there a lot. He's had Big Gip on there. He's had quite a few people on there, and one person he had recently was Dr. Umar Johnson. If you don't know who Dr. Umar Johnson is, school psychologist, licensed um, black man grew up in Philadelphia. He's a Pan Africanist, and he loves black people. Loves respects. He speaks highly about black folks. That's what he does. He's a member of that conscious community that you'll see on social media. Your hymns, your Tariq Nasheeds, your Boyce Watkinses, Tommy Sotomayor's, your Claude Andersons. Several of them. The more notable. I mean, I guess on some level, Hassan Campbell as well. Is a member of that. You got to kind of respect him as well. And like I said, speaking of rap, my biggest thing, let me tell you something. My biggest thing with the conscious community is I just find it so ironic that none of these guys get along with each other. Umar doesn't get along with Tariq. He doesn't get around with any of them. Tariq, none of those guys I mentioned, he doesn't get along with. I think the only ones that really get along are maybe Tariq and Boyce Watkins. I think they did something for a minute together, and then it kind of fizzled out. But yeah, none of them could. For whatever reason, they just don't get along with each other. I don't know. I'm not gonna speculate on anything. But like I said, Umar was on the Art of Dialogue show, and he made this statement, and it's not the most profound thing, but like I've said it on my show on here. I've said it on here. I've called into other podcasts and talk shows. Said it on there, and he said that hey, rap music, rap music ain't done shit for black people, basically. Because as 2023 was the 50-year anniversary of the start of hip hop. 1973, Bronx, New York City. What is that? Cedar and Sedgwick apartment building over there. And and let me tell you this before we even get into it a little bit. Hassan Campbell, he talked about it. He said some things. He said some things in the past that Umar said, and Hassan Campbell kind of jumped on on Umar saying, "Hey, don't be stealing my shit." You know, that's kind of what Hassan does. He says everybody's stealing his shit, and then some of it they are. I mean, some of it they are, I guess. You know, but he said that, talking about rappers giving out turkeys and shit like that, on Thanksgiving and things like that. It's like that's corny. And Umar said something like that. We don't need any turkeys anymore. All that kind of stuff. And like I said, I don't find it to be too profound of a thought that rappers haven't done anything. That rap is. I've always said that rap's been the worst thing to happen to the black people community in the last 30 years. You had Tupac and Biggie being killed, and from there it just completely went downhill and continues to go downhill from there. You know, what are these? What are we doing here? Let's be honest. Other than a few people that became super rich, your Jay Z's, your Dr. Dre's, your Diddy's, Russell Simmons, um, Ice Cube, Snoop. These guys are raking in good money. LL Cool J, not really through the rap music, but just he got his start as a rapper. Will Smith got his start as a rapper. Queen Latifah, even though they're more on the acting side now, but but if you actually have listened to their music and watched their videos, throughout the years, the characters they play aren't much different from who they are. I mean, uh, every movie that Will Smith's been in, whether it's good or not, been a little bit obnoxious, and that's kind of how he was as a rapper. He's a little obnoxious, a little different. Cube, plays pretty much the same thing. Character. Kind of a too cool for school dude. That type of guy. And that's not to diss them. These are good movies and whatnot. I'm just saying. Matter of fact, Vlad was talking about that on his show. What's Ari Spears maybe talking about how these guys, a lot of them don't have any range in their acting. There's something to that. It's not a diss, but there is some truth to that. You're selling movies and whatnot on your names. But I digress slightly. But listen, what Umar Johnson said was 100% accurate. Dr. Umar Johnson, if Hassan Campbell, yeah, like I said, I know he said that. Yeah, we don't need, like I said, we don't need any more turkey drives and turkey giveaways because most of you ain't spending your own hard-earned money anyway. You get a sponsor and they go get 500 turkeys, pass them out on your old block. They paid for that. But let's see, rap music. We've had a we've had a handsome incline of very noticeable incline in murders in the community. That's not from guns. That's not from guns. A lot of that's from rap music. Incarceration, mass incarceration. All the stuff that we talk about. The rappers. People say the rappers highlight it. They don't highlight it. Um, they don't highlight it the right way. They don't highlight it in a positive way. They just talk about it, and I mean, like one of my favorite rappers, Cameron. I mean, Cameron's one of my favorites. He's one of my top five. You know what I'm saying? I remember one little jingle they had with the Dip Smash. Time is nothing. We will do it. You know what I'm saying? 18 months. That ain't facing time. I'm stressed anyway. I can do it. I can use it for the vacation time. Nice little clever line. Yeah, it shows your heart and whatnot, but I don't think that was necessarily the best message to send to some kids. But it is what it is. But yeah, rap music has actually been, like I said, the worst thing to happen to black people in 30 years. And that's going to be hard for some black people to accept that. You know what I'm saying? But it's the truth. Other than, like I said, other than those 10 people or whoever that I've mentioned that have got super rich off of it, the community as a whole suffered. The community as a whole suffered. You know what I'm saying? Like let's just keep it a buck. And then you got and let me say this too, as far as Hassan Campbell, whatever's going on with him and Gilly, I saw how it started, and I said it on this program. You go back and see the episode a few several shows back, like in the last 4 or 5 months. Gillingham got that $100 million contract, you know, and Hassan Campbell doing what he do, talking about the blood sacrifices and the Illuminati, things like that. There's a door. When he does the little Nori thing from Vlad TV, there's a door. It's a door. He talks about that. He was talking about basically saying that's how, Gilly and Wallow, they got paid, and then as Hassan Campbell said, they came back to collect their the devil came back to collect, and he took Gilly's son, his oldest son. Hey, listen, again, I'm not gonna get into that part of it, but I need them two brothers to stop that. Like, we cannot be beefing at each other. Hassan got mad disrespectful in a recent video. I gotta admit, he got mad disrespectful about the young man being killed, and it was just like, damn, guys, we can't be doing that. I'm not Minister Farrakhan. You're not commenting Cube. I can't bring you. I would love to. I can't bring you two together so we could hash this out, but I wish I could. But yeah, like I just don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like the energy in that at all. I really wish they wouldn't do that. But then again, Hassan Campbell is a little angry cat, and I understand why. I understand why. I get it. If you know his story, you'd probably be angry too. Not to mention, he just got shot recently. Um, yeah, that was kind of bad too. But yeah, like I said, he was kind of going off on Umar, saying Umar's stealing his stuff and whatnot. Hey, listen, man, this YouTube community, yeah, people be stealing each other's stuff and whatnot. I get that, but whoever wants to whoever, like I said, as far as I'm concerned, it's not even profound thought. I think it's a very factual assessment. I don't care how many people. You got Baby, Lil Wayne's dad, Lil Wayne. All these guys. Some guys have made some real good money, and about car washes, for their communities, things like that. I mean, little, no schools, no. There should be a black supermarket where you go in there and the elevator music, the supermarket music you hear is nothing but hip hop. There should be a chain of that by now. A chain of schools for the young black youths. Not just a random here. You know, LeBron and Jalen Rose. These are athletes. Some of you rappers, you should have done a supermarket and/or a school, K through 12 school, if not some type of college university. Um, yeah, things like that. I mean, where's that kind of stuff at this point? When we got several billionaires, several more people pushing toward that, and a bunch of 50 and 100 millionaires. Like, we could, like, you guys could have really done some really good stuff with that. We could really use that at this point. A school, whatnot. Uh, yeah, man. I just don't. I just I like. Oh, I'll tell you this. I was just on X, formerly Twitter, the other day. You can follow me on that at Biggie Rothstein, BIGGIEROTHSTEIN. But I was just on that the other day, and I saw where Jason Whitlock. We talk about Whitlock a lot on here. Why? I like him. He's fascinating. Don't necessarily agree with everything he says, but he's still a fascinating guy. If I talk about you on this show, you're fascinating. I find you interesting, and you're generally a fascinating person. So Jason Whitlock, former sports writer, is very conservative and Christian nowadays. Uh, he used to really take the athlete side. Now he doesn't, not as much anymore. But at any rate, I just saw on X Twitter, I think it was last night for the first time I saw it. He said he cleaned out all his rap music, from his playlists or whatnot. And I don't blame him. I mean, Whitlock's a little older, than me. I think he's mid-50s, but I'm kind of headed that way. Like, seriously, I already don't listen to any rap that was made after 2005. A couple songs here and there that I just happen to catch, from kids or something. But like, it was like, other than that, what's that song? 42 Doug and Lil Baby. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We pay. Yeah, that's about the last song I liked out of these newer cats. And if I'm not mistaken, 42 Doug's in the joint. All these rappers that getting put up in the joint. They're all going to the jail now or getting shot. Like that is like not cool. I don't know what I saw that in the local news here in the Republic of Cincinnati, and it broke my heart. Some young man, he was like 19, he might even be 16. He's very young, under 21, and he was quoted in the article in the news piece that he doesn't care how he dies, he just wants to die in a cool way. Huh? First of all, being so young, what are you talking about death for, like that? But just, that really just like it broke my heart just hearing that. Like, man, you don't really think like that, do you? Really? How did we fail this kid? Rap music. We still talk about Tupac and Biggie, and they've been dead longer than they lived. They've been dead for 27, 28 years. They barely both made it to 25 years old before they were killed. Now those murders have not been solved really. I mean, I know Keevy D, Dwayne or whatever his name is, Keevy D, he's in jail for Tupac at this point. Biggie no, but nobody on Biggie's killing. They're trying to say that the guy who pulled the trigger on Biggie is dead, and I don't believe that at all, but we immortalized them for, almost 30 years now, and then all these young rappers, they come out there, get shot, blown up, and get to think, all they people and fans get to thinking they're legends all of a sudden now. Like, no, man. You know what I'm saying? It was different. You had to been there. Even though Biggie had 2 albums, you had to been there to see why he's a legend. You know what I'm saying? These guys dying over drug overdoses, Juice WRLD and Mac Miller and all these guys, like, there's nothing cool about that, dying over drug overdose. Jimi Hendrix. I mean, I didn't grow up with his music, but I never thought that was like nothing cool about that. Like, man, him and who else? All them guys from the 60s, Janis, I don't want to say nobody's name because I don't know who's all dead, but I know he was one of them. And it's like, damn, bro, there's nothing cool about that. Nothing cool about that, Mac Miller. What's your name? The guy, Juice WRLD. There's nothing cool about that. But here we go. Here we go again. Almost 25 minutes. I don't, talk too much, and I do apologize. So I'm gonna hop off of here. But don't forget like and subscribe, and I'll be on here for some Christmas handicapping tomorrow. All right. But until then, y'all be well. Peace out.